That's what happened. The man tried to shut you down, but you can't ever shut down PMbeers. PMbeers can't be shut down.
It's not necessarily the man who did that.
It's not necessarily. It could be.
I don't automatically jump to conclusions that the cell phones are being fucked with or the signals being blocked.
No, I saw a stingray. I don't know what I saw. I don't know what I saw. But we're about to do a banner party, and the banner I'm proposing is hashtag say yes to GMO, hashtag label it. Because I feel like some of us still want our Twinkies and our Doritos, we just want them labeled, and we don't have a problem.
It's not just the labeling, it is the testing. There are actually GMOs that are good for you. They've been genetically engineered to be more productive, that the nutrition is just as good, maybe even better. So it's not just the labeling, it's the testing. We don't have a problem if you give us a better product for less price because you're growing them for, a lot more per acre, but we just don't want it to kill us.
Has everybody checked their parking meter?
That's what
I was paying the meters.
Okay,
just in this block.
Okay, yeah, we
block
got some empty ones over here, and we're out of quarters, so
yeah, I'm coming.
Kind of spreading the word.
I have dollars that if people want to make my dollars into quarters, but I don't have quarters.
I can do that. The other thing is though, that 1 quarter only lasts for 12 minutes here in Sacramento, and so that's part of the highway robbery going on here, just to keep you in from Los Angeles. And so what I'm doing is more so than watching the meters, I'm watching for parking enforcement, and if no one from parking enforcement is even around, I'm waiting 12 extra minutes because that saves a quarter. So that was also kind of my strategy, was just watching the block. What in LA we call holding space, right? Holding space,
What was that gesture?
That's what I call holding space, I'm just holding some space.
That doesn't look like holding space to me,
but
Melissa.
It's just space, I'm holding it. I'm holding space, you guys.
Oh, girl. I can't even show that. I'm so embarrassed.
What do you call it? We call it space. What do you guys call it? I mean, that's how we smash patriarchy, just holding space. Yeah, it's genetically modified, but it's my body, and it's my choice. I just want to see a label right there. Just right there. And then, people that don't know that it's genetically modified, they can know and make their choice, right? Hashtag it. Say yes to GMO. Listen, I heard a rumor that the inner occupiers that couldn't be here were sending us hot Italian pizza that's delivering to the Capitol at 6:30. I heard a rumor.
Is it gluten-free?
They have vegan and gluten-free options. They're like the only place in Sacramento. We looked it up for some of our finicky eaters. It's also a little more on the pricey side. As we know, the more organic choices often are, and the more specialty choices often are. So feel free from wherever you are to call Hot Italian in Sacramento and have a pizza delivered, maybe even an extra gluten-free one for PMbeers, because she needs energy to keep her strength up to hold that phone.
What's the name of this place called?
Hot Italian, and it has vegan, they even offer the vegan cheese, which is, you guys can debate online if that's really good for you or not, but they have a a cheeseless version, and then they have a vegan cheese.
Well, I'm a gluten-freegan.
A gluten-freegan?
I am a gluten-freegan.
Talk dirty to me, PM. I hardly know you. Hey, do you like my shirt that I already stained?
It says, those who say it cannot done should not interrupt the people doing it.
I wanted.
They both have the same shirt. Look at that.
I'm wearing my back on the front, and I already stained the back.
Occu Mom got that quote from the 99 Declaration in Philadelphia 2 years ago. And I loved it so much that I had it printed on the back of my shirt.
Here, let me get a picture with the other camera. Or whatever the fuck these things are called. Oh, girls making out. Woo woo.
I kissed Occu Mom.
All right.
On the lips.
Do it again. Do it again.
Stop Monsanto.
Do it again. Do it again.
We need a lemon to do it. What's your
Aww.
husband gonna think?
What have they done to her?
I think he'll get turned on. I'm sorry. I just.
Patty, we're streaming live. PMbeers, you can't talk like that. The whole world is watching.
You know what, Melissa? I can talk any way the fuck I want to talk.
Oh, well, guess what, you guys? This is what free speech looks like.
Hey now. Hey now.
And the reason why we do this is so that when we are in public, like going into city council meetings, if we're standing in front of the people and you don't want them to have a negative impression, you look pretty normal, but all the people behind you see what you represent. And when you turn your back on the city council members, then they know who you are and what you stand for.
Hey now.
Yes, it works.
Power is peaceful.
Power is peaceful.
All right, I'm off to pay those parking meters. I'll look for that indictment in the mail 6.5 years from now. But you gotta catch me to catch me.
Oh wait.
You are awesome, Melissa.
All right. So the infamous kiss photo will be on Twitter.
It will?
So you gotta go to my Twitter if you want to find it. I'm not putting it on Facebook. Maybe next week I will, but right now it's only going to be available on Twitter at PMbeers.
Crazy.
You're awesome, Patty.
Thank you.
Are we still online?
We're still live, yeah.
Can you fill me in on what happened to your case? Or
What?
do you not want to do that live?
No, it's fine.
Is that okay?
It's all public right now.
Okay.
I mean, maybe some of my private thoughts won't be on.
Right.
I'm not going to give any of my private thoughts on live stream.
Okay.
But so we postponed. My legal team decided to postpone for the third time. It was my legal team's choice, or our legal team, because there's 10 lawyers, there's 11 defendants.
Wow.
Because they got AJ in Pasadena, so now it's 11 people. They went all the way to Pasadena. That was in May, I think. They went all the way to Pasadena, another county, to go pick up AJ. Because he's such a hardened criminal. And that's why I made the wanted poster with the photo of me and AJ. It says wanted in Fullerton for the crime of filming the police.
Right.
Yeah. So I made that the day of court, or the day after court. I forgot which day I made it, Thursday or Wednesday. So at court, we found out that there's 22 discs that Fullerton PD is turning over to our 10 lawyers. 22 discs of digital audio recordings and video recordings from the city of evidence that's supposed to prove that we're criminals.
You haven't seen it yet?
No, but I mean, I have 7.5 hours of live stream footage that I took myself.
I watched yours, and I'm going as Patty Beers just kind of disappeared in the phase. Your voice says, "Oh no, I'm being arrested."
Oh, there's a new video that's out that came out yesterday that AJ and I are in, that In-League Press made, and it talks about freedom of the press. And I haven't seen the whole video yet, and there's some footage of me speaking at city council, footage of me getting arrested, footage of them trying to arrest AJ. I still haven't seen the whole video, but I posted on Facebook today.
I hope your attorneys prevail in this. You know,
they gave us a plea bargain deal.
Oh, they always do.
So here's the deal they gave us. The deal is $250 fine and 3 years of probation.
For doing what? The thing is you can only do a plea bargain if you're guilty of committing a crime. Now, if you take a plea bargain and you didn't commit the crime, these attorneys are now asking you to commit perjury. So they are basically asking you to commit a crime. So now what's worse?
So it's really a big constitutional issue. Do we have the right to assemble? Do we have the right of freedom of the press?
Yes.
Do we have the right to protest?
Yes.
Was there actually a riot? Did the Fullerton police have the authority to call an illegal assembly? And according to Fullerton police, they have all this evidence that a riot happened. But how come I don't have any evidence that a riot happened? How come I didn't witness anything that looked like a riot?
No.
I didn't witness anything except for some jaywalking. I witnessed some jaywalking, and jaywalking is not a riot.
No, it's not.
So was I involved in a riot?
You've got enough evidence, I think, on your side. I mean, there were enough people that were doing the video. I mean, if these guys don't understand what a riot is, go look at what happened with Rodney King. Go look at what riots really are. It definitely, I've seen the video. I mean, I've been at multiple Kelly Thomas
Well, you haven't
protests.
seen the police video, though. So you don't know, like, the police perspective of what happened.
Oh, this will be interesting. You know, it's interesting with the police. They are there with their video cameras, and if they can manage to capture a view that's in their favor, then they might use it. However, if their view doesn't show anything, you know what? They'll never give it to you. All of a sudden, they lost it. Interesting, huh?
They took 7.5 months to hand over their video.
Well, let's see. They could be doing a few things with video in 7.5 months.
Yeah, it took 7.5 months. And there is that one audio recording that we've been trying to get. When we were in the police van, we were being transferred from Fullerton Police Station to the county, Orange County Jail in Santa Ana. So we were being loaded into the police van, and then someone leaned into the van and said, "I got 2 words for you, not guilty." And then someone else said, "When you get to county, there's 12 sheriffs waiting there to smash your fucking faces in."
And you got a reading of that?
They're legally, that should have been recorded by every cop that was there. Legally should have had their recorder on. That should have been recorded, and that legally the Fullerton Police Department is legally required to hand that over to my lawyer when my lawyer requested it. And we think we have that now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Outstanding.
I don't think my lawyers have had time to go through 22 discs full of evidence yet.
Well, the thing is, what I would do, Patty, is tell your lawyer that you want to be in on it. Because I had a lawyer. Lawyers like, even if they're good lawyers, they like to be the controller. And the way they control is they minimize what they give to their client. And you are a crime victim. You have been victimized by the police. And in order for you to be allowed to properly heal, you need to be able to see everything. I have learned that attorneys will give you only what they want you to have, and you need to demand all of it. So,
well, there's a lot of challenge here.
It is a challenge, but I'll tell you, I had an attorney that didn't even double check on the identity of a person that placed a falsified police report on me. And because of her negligence, the whole case got totally messed up. It's hard to explain without pictures. You almost need to have pictures. But I've got over 300 documents on my docket. I've been arguing this case since 2011. Just about everybody has been dismissed. But to date, the 2 people that I had in the encounter with, including the one that placed the falsified police report, they have not even appeared. I have Andre Barote submitting fraudulent documents in federal court. And it just amazes me that this sort of corruption goes on. But my eyes have been opened. I went to the last 2 days of the trial of those sheriff's officers. Remember when the FBI were hiding, they had asked for this informant, and the sheriff, that's what caused Lee Baca to retire. The sheriffs were abusing the prisoners. The FBI was notified kind of by a whistleblower sheriff. So they put a cell phone into the jail system But the sheriff found out about that, and of course they didn't want this evidence to be produced, and I'm just going, holy cow, I don't believe that they do this. They're moving this informant prisoner around, they're changing his name, moving him around to different facilities.
Oh, I heard they're hiding him.
Well, that's what they're doing. They're hiding him. But why are they hiding him? Because he's a witness. He's seen the abuse. He shot the abuse on this cell phone. So, you know, and when it came out that the abuse and the intentional trying to hide this individual was orchestrated by Lee Baca. You know, normally when you're trying to hide evidence, alter evidence, especially against a federal agency like the FBI, that is something that lawfully the punishment is prison.
Yeah, and he's not in prison.
No, he didn't. No, he took retirement.
That's crazy.
You know, and that's what we see happening all the time with the law enforcement officers. No matter what they do, they have got this thing called either partial immunity or total immunity because of their jobs, and they don't even get their hands slapped. So what is there to make them not want to do the bad things again? Nothing. They're indemnified by the city's insurance policy. So even if the victim is actually found to prevail, the officer doesn't pay for the damages. It's the insurance policy. And that's totally screwed up. I mean, there are times that you could prove that an officer showed due diligence, and with what information he had been provided, he did what he felt was the right thing to do. I can understand where he would not be responsible to pay for damages because he's been basically fed wrong information. But when an officer knows what's going on and he intentionally does damage to another person, he should be personally held responsible not only monetarily for the damages, but he also should serve the time just like any other person would. If we'd get that change, you'd see a heck of a lot of change in the police brutality that's going on.
Yeah, or if you could sue them.
Well, you actually can, but a lot of times that's when the immunity will come up. I actually have a friend that believes in suing, and they don't sue them in their professional capacity. They sue them as individuals in their individual capacity. The only thing is that it depends what your motive is. Is your motive to try to really get them punished, but not for you to have any monetary compensation for it? So if you've been damaged by their acts and you are going to be in need of services that are going to cost money, psychological or physical or whatever, chances could be pretty remote that you'll get it when you sue them as an individual, because they'll do all sorts of things. You know, they can claim bankruptcy, they'll do whatever they can. You know, it's like trying to squeeze, you know, juice out of a turnip. It just, it's
there was
very,
a lady in
very
Marietta.
difficult.
I was live streaming in Marietta, and the lady said,
Were you at Marietta
yeah.
too? Boy, you've been all over it.
Yeah, she said, if you keep filming me, I'm going to sue you. I said, you're welcome to sue me. Because I know on so many levels, what she said to me has zero power.
Okay, you were at Marietta. I've heard multiple stories, and I can probably get more.
I have huge stories about Marietta.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
Now tell me, were the people there, because I get lots of feeds from all sorts of groups, ranging from Tea Party to Occupy. And Oath Keepers. Oath Keepers were down there. You probably saw Oath Keepers. Oath Keepers were really excited at the fact that the Border Patrol stood by the protesters, the activists, saying no unlawful immigration. However, what I've heard, and then, you know, of course, we in Occupy, we kind of fight the border issue, saying, you know, this was their land before it was our land, or these are people that are in a place of great turmoil and they're trying to get to a place of greater safety. Let's call them a refugee. It would be pretty cruel for us to say, no, you stay down there and die. But then I got another correspondence that basically said a lot of the people that were being sent in were diseased, so to speak, like very ill. And the question is, you know, is it right for a country to just take these people, to have these people come in without them being properly diagnosed? And even if they're properly diagnosed, you know, they're going to say, well, who's going to pay for it?
What would Jesus do?
Huh?
What would Jesus do?
What would Jesus do? Is there a way where with, I like that, Patty, I love it. I actually got somebody else that said something spiritual / a little bit religious.
You know, I'm not a Christian, but I think that Jesus
What would Jesus do?
is a great hero, heroic, iconic. I don't know how to put what I'm trying to say, but the book of Matthew is a very humanitarian story about this Jesus character. And I'm not even going to argue, was he a man, did exist, did not exist. To me, that's irrelevant. What's relevant to me is that there was a really good story about this Jesus, the Jesus. And there's really great ethics. And this Jesus character was a rebel, was a revolutionary, was a radical, and whatever they're teaching in those buildings is all lies, because those people obviously didn't read the book.
Oh, look at it. Well, they do every once in a while slip in a little bit. Like when he went into the temple and the scribes and the Pharisees and the money changers were there.
Yeah, they like the violent Jesus.
Huh?
They like the violent Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is that it wasn't that he was violent against the people. He was violent against the action.
Oh, it was just violence. Yeah, just violence. Who cares? It was just violence. Yeah.
No, Jesus, I think, was very, very loving with the things that he did. And actually, with him showing his being very upset.
All right, I'm having battery problems. It's not working.
I can see where your battery would go down. You run a light the entire time. Huh?
Is the light on? The light should not be on.
Oh, that's why your battery problem.
Let me try to get rid of that light. I don't know why that light is on. I need to turn it off. I don't remember how to turn the light off. Because Ustream changed their...
Do you have the phone company changing your programs?
No, Ustream updated their software.
Oh, that's what it is.
And it sucks now, and my battery will not charge. Juan is bringing my other battery, so if I go down, I'll probably come back up later, guys.
Well,
Oh, it's charging now. Is the light still on?
Nope, the light's still on.
There we go.
Now you're off.
Yeah, okay.
If you need battery power, I've got a battery and an inverter over there.
Well, I've got another one of these charging in the kitchen. And one is going to bring it back when he does his next run to the kitchen.
Okay.
Because he's driving everyone back and forth to the kitchen.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, getting back to your statement, which was beautiful, what would Jesus do?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And it gets back to, you know, the other side of that sign, which says, we are one family.
You know, Jesus didn't give a shit about nations and borders. He really didn't. I mean, there's a very clear Jesus story about giving water at a well. And that was like, was that the Good Samaritan story, or am I getting my stories confused?
I think it's another story.
I just remember there was water at a well, and there was someone from another country, and you're not supposed to, they're like bad, dirty people, so you're not supposed to give them water from your well.
Yeah.
And Jesus is like, fuck that. This person is thirsty, give her water.
Right.
And I'm sure he said it exactly that way.
in the language of their times, right?
Yeah. I'm sure Jesus cussed.
Yes.
I'm kidding. I made that up.
He was human. And when you get upset, sometimes, things come out. But no, I had a radical change in my being when I actually put into practice what our church actually advocates. But unfortunately, they speak it, but they don't play the role. I mean, they don't actually do it, and that is to reach out and love each other as we are one family. When Occupy was gathered in Los Angeles, there were a lot of the young people that I felt were kind of lost in direction. I was, because I am a spiritual / religious person, but I do not advocate any one religion. You heard me talk about I'm a member of multiple groups: Tea Party, Occupy, Oath Keepers, 99%. And are there differences? I almost got stoned originally by the occupiers. Saying, you can't be a Tea Party.
Well, you know what? Yeah, obviously there's differences, but what about the similarities?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
We have a lot of that's when I went to Bundy Ranch. That was blown away, and so were they. The militia guys I talked to were blown away to hear truth about Occupy. I was blown away to hear truth about militia groups. I don't know if they're a Tea Party, or I think some of them were Oath Keepers. I'm assuming because of who they associated with, that I found out later.
Yeah. I would say they are spiritual in that.
Well, one of them told me he was a Christian, and he was like, he said that he was doing nice things for people not because he wanted to, but because this is the Christian thing to do. And I was like, whoa. I was just blown away and totally impressed by that he was like a Christian, like behaving in a Jesus-like manner, which is I'm not familiar with Christians who behave like Jesus.
See, when you start making blanket statements, this is the Christian thing to do, now, so it's Christian, but Jews are.
I think he explained it more eloquently than me, but he was like, you serve other people because. He said, I serve other people because I'm a Christian, and that's what Jesus would want me to do or something. Or I don't know. He was better at explaining it than me, but I was really impressed with that because he was acting like his actions were Christian.
Oh, okay. So he wasn't just speaking; he was walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't like to. I could understand, like with Occupy. There were so many of them that were very upset with religions because so many wars and deaths have happened.
Well, there's a lot of ugly oppression that comes from religion.
Yeah. So, I bore my testimony at the PMGA last night, and my statement was, I do believe in a higher power. You can call him God, Heavenly Father, Elohim, Allah, whatever, but I do believe that there is a higher power, and we've been put here for a reason, and to make some choices and decisions, and some of our choices aren't good decisions, but as long as we can use our brains and our hearts and figure out that we made a mistake, we've learned it, hopefully you won't make it again, then at least we're moving or evolving into a better person. Unfortunately, some people don't recognize when they're doing evil, and they keep doing it. And what is it our duty? Is our duty to hate them? No. Our duty, if we look at everybody being members of the same family, our duty is to have empathy with them. It's probably because of their background and everything that's happened to them, and to see if you can find a point where you can relate to them and bring them around. Because I do believe Donna Pirano will argue this, because she's got an archaeological, anthropological background, but my belief is all human beings have a heart, but because of whatever, many of them have gotten this hardened shell around them. And if you really love a person, you will do whatever you can to chisel away at that hardened shell, so that the true human being in them will feel what's going on. And once you come to the realization that we're all one family, your perspective on everything changes. My husband doesn't recognize me because I will admit that I used to be very judgmental.
Yeah.
You know, if I hadn't had that awakening, you know, I would be the one that would be going down around Skid Row and basically saying
This is
result of the choices that they've made.
being judgmental is where I am a hypocrite.
Yes.
Because I am mostly only judgmental against people I think are being judgmental. So if I feel like someone's being judgmental, I will be horribly, harshly mean and judgmental to that person. And that makes me a hypocrite. And I'm...
Oh, yeah, because you're now doing
I am
what
a
you
total hypocrite about being judgmental.
Right, right. So, and you will find the environment so much different when instead of being judgmental, you're reaching out with love and wanting to understand. And when you do that, if they have issues, they start pouring out their heart to you, and now you start communicating. And by doing that, it's a two-way benefit, because the person that might be able to offer some comfort or some solutions to the downtrodden is helping somebody that was searching for the answers but didn't know where they were. And when that type of communication happens, people grow. Their character grows and develops. And I mean, we could have a society that would flourish if more of mankind were that way. But what's happened is we've become so materialistic. You know, the Pope Francis, did you hear about him getting together with, I think it was the Prime Minister of Israel, and it seems to me it was like a leader in Iran who were going to get together for a day of prayer. And I was really touched by that, to think that a Pope would reach out to these different, because obviously...
Did it happen?
I believe it did.
Yeah.
I believe it did.
I keep hearing a lot of talk about this Pope Francis, like all this talk and talk and talk and talk.
Well,
and I don't believe any of the talk, because he seems to be the Pope for the people and the Pope for the poor and all of that. But I don't see like him selling off the riches of the Vatican to feed the world.
No, he probably won't do that. In other words, he's doing the talk, but he's not.
Yeah, so like
talk.
we learned from the Obama, right?
But you can listen to the words and don't do what he does. Do what you know you're supposed to do with the words.
Well, I'm not going to judge anyone by their words.
But he gave it's like a 250 page declaration or whatever to the people back in November. And like on the first or second page, he talked about, and you know, I've really got to go back and look at as to whether, because I'm thinking of America, but he may be talking more globally of the people that we've become, a type of people that is so focused on the materialistic. And when you become focused on the materialistic, you become less in tune to what's really important, which is the inner person, the spirit of the person.
Definitely.
And we've seen that with the type of capitalism that we've got. I personally don't have a problem with a capitalistic environment as long as the greed does not get there. Now, my son tells me he's graduated in business and all of that, and he said, you can't have capitalism without greed. Greed is what drives capitalism.
Well, then I also hear from like some of the patriots and the constitutionalists that we don't have a free market. There's no free market.
Well, no, because there's all this control with the subsidies and, you know, and the lobbying and the money exchange.
And a lot of people say that's from the government, and I'll say no, it's actually not from the government. It's from the corporate control of the government. Yes. So these big corporations are fucking over the small business people, but their tool to fuck you over is the government.
Yeah, and so consequently, what we've got as a result is we've got the middle class, which is what really made America thrive. That's why everybody wanted to come to America, with what the corporations are doing and the suppression of the people and all of the regulations and stuff. The middle class is basically disappearing. Some of it goes to the upper, but most of it's pushed down. And I got, if this is any encouraging information, at the hotel where I'm staying, there were 4 youths, and they were from Poland. And I've got to believe that this is a cycle, because we know that Poland's gone through a lot of suppression with dictatorships and that sort of thing. And I kind of asked them about the middle class in Poland. I says, is it growing or is it diminishing? And they say, no, it's getting bigger. So that to me is saying, even though things are really crappy right now here in the United States, if we get on the right track, maybe we too can help get the middle class to grow again. And I think that will happen when there is more of the attitude that we are our brother's keeper, that we love everybody, and we can and if we put everybody back to work, and I don't necessarily mean work being something that you're getting a paycheck and getting money, but that everybody feels as though they will dedicate. I think everybody dedicated 2 days a week to something, whether it was
What if all work was voluntary?
Well, that would be even better, but you need to really talk with the economists to come forth with a system that would work with that. I'd love to see that. I'd love to have everybody doing what their passion is. Wouldn't it be wonderful if work wasn't work?
I think that everyone did what their passion was. All of the important work would get done. Because there's people who are passionate about growing food. There's people who are passionate about cooking. There's people who are passionate about cleaning. There's so many things that people are passionate about. So if people only did what they wanted to do, all of the important things would get done. And work wouldn't be work, because it would be joy.
You just have to figure out how to do the system. Unfortunately, a lot of times you'll find that there are workers and there are takers, and actually it's not the people. I really think a person outside of a culture just has a natural desire to be productive.
Absolutely, I totally agree.
Yeah, but what's happened with the way our government, like with welfare, has done, is they have made the people feel, number one, they've made things that would empower them, such as education, learning skill trades. They make it very difficult for the less fortunate, the ones that maybe have come here from another country, or maybe even whose parents chose the wrong paths, that they're kind of stuck in this vicious cycle down below. And my belief of a government is that the government should basically do the same thing that good parents would do with their children, and that is, what can we do to empower them, to get them as independent? I mean, the birds do it. The birds do it up in their nests, by feeding them and teaching.
There's a lot of people on welfare who just are not able.
Oh, that is absolutely, I think, a duty of society, is to help those that cannot do, but maybe they can't do physically, but maybe they can do verbally. To find what is it that person has that they can offer. Maybe they're sitting reading a story to children.
That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah. There is something that everyone, there is not one person that cannot find things that make them valuable, and that's what will empower them. And what we do, Somebody had said that there was an individual that was invited and that was actually rapping or something about the mentally ill. Did you hear that over at the Capitol building?
I left. Some rapping started at the time when I left, so
Maybe you missed it.
I was so exhausted last night.
Yeah. I just, I'm going, how sick is that? And that's why I'm kind of, I love Occupy, but I really wonder about some of the things that were invited to participate here. Who would ever think making fun, I don't care if you're a comedian.
Yeah, that's terrible.
It's pretty sick when you make fun of a mentally ill person. But that's the type of
And there's a lot of mentally ill people in Occupy.
A lot of what?
Mentally ill people in Occupy.
Oh yeah.
It's a crazy magnet.
But the thing
Absolutely. It is. Let's just be real here.
But and the thing is I was at the Kelly Thomas trial down in Santa Ana, and we were talking about mental illness because Kelly was, I think, basically
He was schizophrenic.
Yeah. And it was difficult with his situation to make sure that he got his medications. But I was out in the hallway, and there was a young man that I was talking to, and just the way he spoke, you could just feel his spirit. It was beautiful. And he says, I have schizophrenia.
Yeah.
But he had family and friends that stood by him. And he got the proper care.
Yeah.
And he's staying on the agenda. And that's encouraging to me.
So yeah, a lot of people with schizophrenia will say, if I stay on my medication, I'm fine, I'm okay. But the problem is that sometimes when you feel fine and you feel okay, and you're like, well, why the fuck am I taking medicine? I don't need it. And then they stop.
Well, and the thing is that I think that we scientifically are moving enough.
There's also alternatives to medication that the doctors will not endorse.
Exactly. We all know that doctors and the American Medical Association and the pharmaceutical companies are all very tightly interlinked.
So there's the gluten-free diet, which I'm gluten-free.
What were your symptoms before that?
I had panic attacks. I had anxiety. I had social phobia. My normal state was nervous, always. And I would be totally afraid to come into a group of people. And I got agoraphobic at one time. I couldn't even go outside of the house to go to the mailbox. And every kind of anxiety you could have, I had it. And then I went gluten-free for 2 weeks, and it was gone. And then my son also, he's diagnosed with high-functioning autism, like Asperger's. Actually, the Diagnostic Statistic Manual took Asperger's out. So it's now Asperger's is now high-functioning autism, and that's what my son was diagnosed with.
I have a grandson that's that way.
Yeah. And he accidentally went gluten-free for 2 weeks because his psychiatrist noticed that his blood levels for his liver level, his cholesterol level, his sugar level were all a little bit high. So he said, well, why don't you put him on the South Beach diet and see if these levels come down. So then he was on that South Beach diet.
Now that's the high protein, right?
Yeah, so the South Beach diet, for the first 2 weeks, you're allowed to eat meat, cheese, and vegetables. And I think as far as sauces and toppings, that's very restricted as well. So my son is not a fan of vegetables. I couldn't get him to eat any vegetables at that time. So he ate meat and cheese only for 2 weeks. And by the end of the 2 weeks, he was 19 years old, and by the end of the 2 weeks, he used to have monologue conversations for 2 hours straight where he would talk about every detail of every Pokemon ever, every little minute, he knew every minute detail of every Pokemon. And even if he would be doing his monologue and I would leave the room, half an hour later come back, he's still going, he's thinking we're having a conversation. So after 2 weeks of this diet, he says to me, Mom, you're really not interested in what I'm saying. And I'm like, hallelujah, I exist. I'm like, we just had a conversation, oh my God. For the first time in 19 years, we had an actual conversation. And then also he had a lot of really disturbing symptoms and he really suffered a lot. He used to walk into the wall and bang on the wall. He's thrash in his bed and scream, help me, and there was like a lot of like violent behavior that he had, and he had kind of outgrown the violent behavior. But like when he was 16, he punched a cop and the principal. Thank God he was in the right school because he did not go to jail. He didn't even get suspended because
they understood.
Because he was in the right school.
Right.
Yeah, because he had already been diagnosed with autism. But that's another story. So anyway, that diet, the gluten-free diet, will help with anything that a psychiatric pill, except for Ritalin and Adderall. So for anything but ADHD that a psychiatrist give you a pill for, the gluten-free diet will help you.
Really?
Yeah. 80% of people who've tried it and done it correctly.
Maybe I'll give that a try.
And it's something that poor people can do because guess what? Rice and beans are gluten-free. So poor people can do it.
Yeah.
Yay! And we mostly shop at the 99-cent store for our groceries, and you can shop at the 99-cent store and be gluten-free. Unless you have celiac, I'm not going to give any...
You know,
I don't give gluten-free advice for people with celiac.
You mentioned the Ritalin, and I actually have an article that you may be interested in posting sometime because I'd love for it to get circulated. It was actually written by a psychologist, and he said that many of the kids that are diagnosed with ADD are actually the ones that would have been the strongest activists, and they knew it.
Well, I think most of the activists have ADHD.
Oh yeah?
Oh, I do.
And they
I
haven't
haven't,
been they haven't been medicated.
I actually like the medication.
The Ritalin?
I've only tried Adderall,
Oh, okay.
and it helped me immensely.
Did it?
And yeah.
Well, you know, and then we're back to the snowflake. You know, we are all different. Our body chemistry is all different. You know, what works for you may work just the opposite for me. So, but what we got to do is communicate.
It's definitely not right for everyone.
No.
Yeah.
But hey, it's worth a try. If you're trying stuff and you're not happy with the results, either because
Well, also
of
the other psychiatric medicines, I'm not completely against them. I just rather people use the gluten-free diet instead, or at least try it. But if it means going into a psych hospital or taking a pill, I'd rather you take a pill than go into a psych hospital.
Amen. Amen. Amen to that. You know, I'm going to run over and take a look at this. Bless you, Patty, for what you're doing. You're flying all over the place. And I've seen you got a pretty good following going. So keep up the good work. We love you.
All right. Hey, I'm going to archive it and label it Occu Mom, and I'll put it on YouTube on Tuesday.
Okay. Cool. Bless you for all you do, Patty.
All right. Thank you for talking so long. I think everybody... Rice PDX said Occu Mom is the best.
You say that was a comment back from live stream?
Yeah, Rice PDX. He said Occu Mom is the best.
Who said that?
Rice PDX.
Rice?
Rise.
Ryan?
Rise.
Rice.
Like go up. Rise.
Oh, okay. See, I'm not real familiar with all of this.
Oh, well, he's real familiar with you because he watches live stream a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he's like a real follower of your
He
stuff.
knows who you are.
Oh, he knows who I am.
yeah.
Well, I love you if you love me. We are a happy family. Keep up the good work.
Okay, all right. Awesome, guys. I'm going to actually stop streaming for a while. Hey now, look at these cool bags you have.
Oh, these are my mom's at Bow and Yoga. You can get these cool bags too.
Oh, nice. So you guys, I'm going to go ahead and stop streaming, and I might be back in a little while. Leave your browser open.
We need to talk.
It's almost 6 p.m. No